讲述中国，欢迎收看本期的零时差访谈，我是海林。粮食安全是国之大者，悠悠万事，吃饭为大。粮食安全关系人类永续发展和前途命运，需要国际社会的共同努力。今天我们要对话的嘉宾就与粮食安全有关，他是国际农业发展基金总裁阿尔瓦罗·拉里奥。中国是人口大国，也是农业大国。拉里奥总裁如何看待中国对保障本国粮食安全做出的行动和对维护世界粮食安全发挥的贡献？让我们一起在对话中寻找答案。
Thank you so much, Mr. President, for accepting our interview today. It's our honor. We heard that you have just returned from the IFAD project in Henan Xinyang. Please talk about your suggestions in the light of what you have said China is to achieve the multi-win goal of rural development, ecological protection and income generation for farmers.
I have been very impressed with what I have seen in Henan province. I saw a tea cooperative of women which actually for the first time have the ability to really build a business around tea, to be able to manufacture, to distribute, and the quality of the tea was fantastic indeed. I also saw another cooperative which was around fisheries and the aquaculture. And now after 5-6 years that it was completed, now it's also an agro-tourism. So I think the way that these projects have increased the incomes of many thousands of small farmers has been really very impressive. I think it's one of the great news of this century of eradicating poverty. More than 800 million people, which is just fantastic, absolutely great. And I believe now it's all about preventing many of these people falling back into poverty. So there's a lot of challenges still there related to infrastructure in rural areas, public services, social protection. But I'm sure together China and IFAD can really make a difference.
Thank you so much for sharing with us your experiences in China these days. What is the current overall situation of world food security? And what challenges does world food security pose in the near future for achieving the UN 2030 Zero Hunger goal? What are the efforts of the International Fund for Agricultural Development in addressing these issues?
Today we are still in a food crisis. So we still have, unfortunately, more than 800 million that go every day hungry to bed. In today's world, there's the means, there's the finance, so we can really make it happen, just like China has done. Unfortunately, food systems after the war in Ukraine have really shown that we are in a situation where they are very vulnerable. Many of the global food supply chains have been disrupted, and that's a consequence of really underinvestment for many decades. We need to really start investing more if we want to get people lifted out of poverty, not only on how food is produced, but also how food is distributed, how food is stored, how food is consumed, how food is marketed. And we need massive investments, and we need them right now at a scale that we have never seen before, if we really want to lift these hundreds of millions of people out of poverty. For IFAD, our focus is really in that last mile, in the communities that usually don't have these opportunities, creating rural jobs, making sure that these jobs create agri-food industries. In the case of China, for example, I think all it started really with investment in agriculture, improvement of productivity, and really after that, an entire business around the entire food system value chain.
How would you assess China's actions to ensure its own food security and its contribution to the maintenance of world food security? As China is the world's largest developing country, what do you think are the successful experiences of China in ensuring food security that other developing countries can learn from?
Clearly, China has a big experience in eradicating poverty. A fantastic, I would say, outcome for the world. And now it's a matter of how we can also learn from some of those experiences. In the 2000s, there was a big rural credit cooperative reform. And IFAD was also trying to support that reform through a rural finance program. And it would really help bringing a lot of the financing to the small farmers, bringing them around cooperatives. So I think there's also a lot we can learn in terms of mechanization. There's a lot we can learn, as I said, in terms of the access to irrigation systems. So South-South triangular cooperation becomes a very important element in how China can support the world, how we can all come together on a multilateral system that really makes many of these lessons learned be adapted and transferred in a localized way to many of these countries.
Over the past decade, with the joint efforts of all parties, the Belt and Road became a popular international public goods and international cooperation platform. We know that more than 150 countries and more than 30 international organizations have signed cooperation documents with China. So where do you think the attractiveness and vitality of this platform come from?
Infrastructure is very important. In the case of food security, connecting farmers to the markets, making sure that the rural tertiary roads are there, that the bigger dams are constructed, that they are connected to the small farmers. And I think that's where IFAD can really come in and with China make a difference on connecting many of these investments to that last mile. So for us, China is a very important partner. We have more than 40 years of experience with them. We have seen really China growing across its development journey. Now it's a large developing economy and there's lots of things that we can do together.